straight ahead, the concept of the news business does a lot of good for society, right? It surfaces truth. It brings things to light that you never would have seen. TV is a visual medium. I think we all know the risks of journalism and reporting today. But yes, that piece alone of television changed the modern era. I think entertainment in its own right is great for the culture. I think we're not the first people to think of it. I think a couple thousand years of a thing called comedy and a thing called drama, there's a need to storytell and to draw themes from society and represent them in fictional ways. Like there is something about not just the storytelling of what really happened, but the layering of fantasy and comedy and drama of not real situations. There's a tremendous sophistication in all audiences. When you go to a theatrical performance, and I'm imagining, amphitheaters in Greece, and I'm imagining people in front of their computer today, there's not a suspension of disbelief exactly. There's a realization that someone has created this for you and that you're bringing to it your expectation and your sense of naivete or cynicism or brain off or brain on interaction, and that you're very good at deciding what state you're in and what fulfills that at that time. And that's the basis of the TED Talk, which is the data say these were the most popular shows. The emotional side says these most popular shows fulfilled, by the accounting of the people who watched them, how they needed to feel at the time that they watched the shows. So from the beginning of television, which was a relatively new medium in 59-60 was the first broadcast year we looked at, there was a need for information. There was a need for straight ahead learning of what was out there in the world, and a number of entertainers, news people, comedians, and what that drove for the viewer. I think looking at the intersecting axes of I want to be entertained, I want to laugh, to the rise of cynicism, like, oh, television can actually be used to deliver a message that's right behind the language of that show. Laugh In was a very good example of, they're actually saying something while these two guys are pretending to deliver information in this funny, kind of dumb way. I think, a show like that obviously predates a show like SNL in 75, which came at the moment in time of the fall of, the first modern president. And the thing that I focused on quite a bit with my team at the time was this intersection at the end of the 90s, which had been the height of a certain kind of comedy personified by Seinfeld and Friends. Not only were the series, 8, 9, 10 years old, seasons old, the popularity of the genre of comedy was declining in the ratings and in the emotional needs of the people watching. And the thing that was on the rise was not a thing called drama, not a thing called documentary, but a different emotional state called judgment. People wanted to judge in some way that was not yet expressed. And the moment in this chart where humor was going down and judgment was going up, the X that marked that spot was right at the moment of 9/11 and continued very, very, very extremely to the moment of Katrina. And what happened in that period of time was the rise of, this new #1 hit show on network TV called Survivor. And so, what I was really struck by in this data was how and why we caught this wave of the thing called reality TV, and why comedy and drama were really replaced. They were embodied in reality. Comedy and drama didn't go away. They just were expressed in a different form. So that was the nature of the TED Talk and the data around TV. And to your original question, do I think it's important and shapes the culture and changes the world? I do, and I do.